Yes, we do feel very bullish about not only about what the industry has done during the course of the past year, but also in what we think will be the performance during the coming year. So let me just take a minute to summarize the NASSCOM report, basically what we call as the Strategic Review 2022. Firstly, it has been a year of excellent growth. For one thing, it has also been a year of many milestones. As an industry, we crossed $200 billion in revenue, actually crossed it to go to $227 billion, which is a growth north of 15% on a year-on-year basis. Granted, there was the benefit of at least 1 quarter, if not 2 or 3 quarters of low base effect. But still, I think it was a fantastic growth performance by the industry. Secondly, as a proportion of services exports, this industry is now 51% of the overall services exports of India, which means this industry alone exports more than all other sectors combined, which is another milestone that I think we all can be very proud of. And thirdly, we crossed 5 million employees as a sector, which is another big milestone for us that we are very proud of which about 450,000 or so were added just during the current year. So not only that, in terms of laying the foundations for the future growth, whether you look at it in terms of tech startups, by the way, we are the third biggest tech startup nation in the world behind the US and China right now. And we have a fair number of stories of good startups that became unicorns, then software as a services companies. Any which way you look at it, I think it has been an excellent year. And last but not the least, on the diversity and inclusion parameter, of the 5 million employees in the sector, more than a third, 35-36% of the employees are women, 1.8 million or so. So not only have we done well, we have laid the foundations for the future very well. And we are including diversity and inclusion, which is a very key parameter that will aid growth in the future as well. These are all some of the factors that go behind the bullishness that you see on the report. And as to your question on TCS, yes, we are continuing to be very bullish. Digital is very strong. Cloud is very strong. Yes, we have every reason to be very bullish about what's to come.
Okay, you're sounding very bullish in your own words, but one thing that we have noticed in the last few quarters is that there has been that absence of those mega deals or billion-dollar deals. Is this the new normal, that we should expect a lot of smaller deals and maybe lack of a big deal?
So mega deals by definition take longer time and less predictable. Basically, both for TCS and for the customer or prospect concerned, these represent significant commitments. So all of us take time in shaping those. So you cannot predict those deals as to when they will close. So there may be a quarter or two lag in terms of that. So there is a fair bit of mega deal activity that's going on at any given point of time. So I wouldn't say whether it's more or less, because by definition, they are unpredictable. But coming to your question about whether the new normal is going to be smaller deals, there is definitely a trend that the smaller deals are taking precedence. To my mind, that would also be a function of whenever there is a paradigm shift happening, right? Cloud and digital, or indeed a paradigm shift. So the maturity of companies, customers, third-party advisors, partners, all of them take some time to scale up and become mature. Once the industry matures and becomes comfortable with the new paradigm, I think that is when people will be comfortable bundling services into larger and larger deals. And that's probably when we'll start seeing the mega deals in the new paradigm as well. So it's a matter of maturing and cycle time, but I'm sure that will come as well.
Okay, so that's heartening to note. But, you know, the two big themes of 2021 were cloud and digital. I'll come to digital in a bit, but on cloud, we have seen a lot of Horizon 1 deals, which has fueled the short-term growth for yourself as well. What are you expecting in terms of timeline for conversion of Horizon 2 and Horizon 3 deals going forward?
So that's a great question. In fact, it's a question on everyone's mind. So let me just attempt an answer for that. Like I've said elsewhere before, from a cloud adoption point of view, we are probably about a third of the way. If there are 100 workloads worldwide to be moved into the cloud, we are probably about 30, 35 is where we are. But the last 20% of that will also be very difficult to move. Probably they may not move to the cloud at all. Those kind of workloads are there as well. So if we say that 80% of the overall workloads is addressable space, and we are about 35%. The remaining 40-45%, how long is it going to take? It's going to happen in a matter of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. That's anybody's guess, I guess. But I would say the trend points to adoption sooner rather than later. So the Horizon 1 itself will go on for at least another couple of years, in my opinion. And secondly, on the foundation of that is when the other Horizon 2 and Horizon 3, which are more related to business transformations and complete organization level changes or even pan-industry ecosystem possibilities all start opening up. Those will follow that. In some ways, I would also argue that concepts such as the metaverse, which are now all the rage, are also offshoots of the foundation that cloud has set. Right? So we will certainly see all of those. In terms of timeline, it's hard to predict, but over the next 2 to 3 years, it will be dominated by the Horizon 1 deal. While Horizon 2 and Horizon 3 propositions will also start taking shape in the coming year and the year after that.
Well, that sets me up perfectly for my next question, because what could be the key trends of 2022 was going to be my next question. And you already talked about metaverse, which has been the buzzword, and digitization is also something which you have been actively partnering with a lot of hyperscalers, etc. as well. Could you throw some more light in terms of how the digitization efforts are looking like for your clients, as well as what kind of opportunity can metaverse entail for IT majors?
So the good news about digital is that the adoption continues unabated, and clearly the benefits are there for the customers to see. Just going back to your earlier question also about why we are seeing smaller deals, as people start taking baby steps, they want to be sure that the business cases that they are writing are indeed on solid ground and they are able to deliver on those business cases. And that phase of writing business cases, taking their credibility, if not more, at stake, and delivering on those promises to their superiors, I think that phase is well and truly underway, and a lot of that is already established. So we see greater and greater confidence in the minds of customers about going deeper into the digital transformation arena, which is what makes people like me also gain the confidence to say that in the coming years, Horizon 2 and Horizon 3 will start picking up, and the adoption will go from 35% probably all the way to 75 or 80%. All of those statements are coming because we see in our customer base how the business cases are indeed getting delivered, the confidence is indeed improving, and they are, customers are willing to come up and sign up for larger and larger deals.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the demand side, and that is definitely looking positive, no two words about it. But on the supply side, there is a definite pressure when it comes to the attrition as well as the other headcount issues. What is your sense regarding the attrition normalizing going forward? And margins have been under pressure because a lot of subcontracting costs. What's the outlook with respect to margin going forward?
Sure. So you're absolutely right. Attrition is a significant concern for the industry as well as the individual companies. And obviously, it has been at unprecedented levels over the last couple of quarters. But the slight, light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, is the fact that if you look at the Q3 results announcement by most major companies, most of them talked about attrition plateauing, if not slightly declining. Again, as many were also very careful to point out, optically it may still trend up because of the previous year's effect. While plateauing or declining, the attrition levels are still way higher than what they were 4 quarters ago. So optically, the trailing 12 months number may inch up a bit. But on an absolute basis, things are tending to plateau. And the hope, and it's certainly a hope, that in the coming quarters, we'll probably start a slight declining. As to when we will get back to normal is anybody's guess. Obviously, when demand is on such a high, it is only natural to expect challenges on the supply side as well. So given the strong demand momentum, we'll be foolhardy to think that very quickly we'll go back to normal on the attrition side. So we do expect that challenges to persist at a higher level than what we were used to during normal days. So that's probably going to be for a few quarters.
Okay, and we yesterday just got the report from Aeon Survey Sector talking about how EdCon edition is something which is going to be led by software, digitization and tech companies, and that is something that you are also alluding to. Let me wrap it up by asking you a question regarding the overall, environment in terms of the different verticals as well as geographies. Are you seeing some sort of specific traction in, let's say, BFSI or retail, and any specific geography that you would want to point out in terms of which is outpacing the others with respect to growth?
Yeah. So from a digital services and other services point of view, which is my responsibility for TCS, and again, I'll take my NASSCOM hat off and wear my TCS hat as I answer this question. It is hardly anything to call out saying that X industry is outpacing Y industry. We see this digital adoption, cloud adoption, and driving of new business transformation initiatives across the board, because every industry sees this as a key opportunity, either as a growth driver in a big way, or to protect their industries from disruption and actually disrupting their industry themselves or their own company themselves. Either which way you look at it, cloud is seen as a big positive and a big enabler of transformation one way or another. And so it's very hard. I wouldn't call X industry outpacing Y industry in terms of cloud adoption or digital adoption.